What's up, everyone? It's Kanan.
It's Jessie.
And we are the Geeky Saying Couple, and welcome to episode 3 of Retro RWBY. In this episode, we will be going back over Volume 1, Chapters 6, 7, and 8, which is pretty much the entire Emerald Forest little arc, I guess you can say, where everybody gets paired up into their partners, and everybody gets put into their teams by the end of it, so lore-wise, a pretty important string of episodes, I'd have to say. Sorry this is so late. Our internet has been trash. It's been
more so than usual. We can't find an explanation for it either.
Yeah, it's been like mowing the grass with an old push mower, like one that doesn't have, which is just the
blades that spin.
Yes, it's been like cutting the grass with those things. So hopefully everything goes all right. We're gonna try and get these out faster. Just be patient with us. You got anything you want to throw in?
Other than commissions are open for art, no.
Commissions are open for art. So let's go. Episode 6. Episode is just 7:14. Probably a little shorter than that because we're not doing the intro or the credits, so these are over before we know it most of the times. So here we go. Oh, we know what this is leading up to. Okay, so yes, of course, that's Blake. Many theories are still going around about this right here, because not only does the events that we're about to see eventually in the distant future become one of the top romances of the series, but people still wonder, did Blake seek Yang out, or did Blake just happen to be in the area? Now it's a big mystery because we didn't see Blake in the lineup when they got catapulted.
But when we first saw, the one thing I summarized is she was obviously there, because when you see the above overshot of everyone standing there in the lineup, you see all these extra people that are in line, but when they focus down on them, you don't see that other half.
Yeah.
Which I kind of think they intentionally left Blake out of that, probably to leave more mystery to this, to see, because you wouldn't know where she went. They were always going to focus on these main ones first and let her just show up. So, yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
I think she actually had some intent to seek her out.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people don't want to consider the manga anthologies as canon. Now, I've heard conflicting reports. I've heard that Miles and Carrie said they were just glorified fan fiction, but in one of their videos, Calaxon did say that at one time, Carrie and Miles said that any of the mangas can be considered canon as long as they don't contradict the show. Now, of course, there are some stories in those mangas that, they didn't happen. But the others, if you want to consider them canon, there's really nothing that hurts that, because they easily could have happened during their time at Beacon.
Just fits in between things that we wouldn't have seen.
And in Blake's book, it's shown that Blake saw Yang when she was flying through the air still, and it pretty much states that Blake did seek out Yang, and it was because Yang complimented her bow.
Which to me
is kind of cute.
It is, and it kind of fits, because also to me, her coming up and interacting with her and not thinking anything of it, just probably whatever Blake saw, okay, she didn't really care anything else, she just came up to make conversation, unlike others.
I've got more I want to cover, but it has to be when Blake actually makes herself known, so let's...
Is anyone out there?
She sounds... I love how she's already...
Yeah,
she's already bored.
Someone there? Ruby, is that you?
Nope. And even though she stated, well, maybe you should be on somebody else's team, she still looked for Ruby.
Yeah.
So, of course, Goldilocks and the three bears.
You guys wouldn't happen to have seen a girl in a red hood, would you?
And here is when we learn
Wrong side of
that you don't touch Yang's hair. Even the Grims were like, uh-oh. I'm having flashbacks to like early in RPGs when you go on the first quest of the game and you're just one-shotting enemies.
What? You want some too?
Instant death. Okay.
Also means she was sitting there watching her fight.
Yeah. So, well, it's like Barbara said in the commentary. Barbara's like, Blake's like, damn girl, you hot. You know? So, but the big thing here is knowing what kind of character Blake is at this point, the fact that there was something about Yang that made her want to show herself and become Yang's partner, a human at that, shows that there was... It's corny to say love at first sight. I don't think it was that, but there had to have been some kind of trust or connection that happened. That, of course, we as the viewer do not see, and we're not meant to know that, but what happens later in the series, it just seems like it was fate, almost.
Which a lot of the partners, they end up that way. You know, your
Well-
heart's supposed to guide you to that. But here's the thing.
Well, Ruby and Weiss kind of ended up together on an accident.
Yes, but it ended up working out.
Yeah, where
But,
Blake it seems Blake seeked Yang out.
well, what I was saying before, though, is that, like, when she came up to her and started talking to her, Blake obviously sensed something. Okay, maybe I can trust her, because she didn't automatically just like dismiss her. So obviously she saw something which would have led to this today.
And we've both read how this interaction was originally supposed to go. Like, Blake was supposed to point Gamble at Yang's throat and kind of smirk at her and all that. And a lot of people saw it as more flirty in a way, which, I mean, it kind of, I don't know. Like, I don't know how it would have translated on screen, but people have drawn it in artwork and all that. But yeah, this is the form of the start of Blake and Yang's partnership. She must have been able to really, in that little smirk.
I could have taken him.
She must have known exactly where to hit to kill that thing in one hit.
Remember your training, Weiss. Head up, shoulders back, right foot forward. Not that forward. Slow your breathing. Wait for the right time to strike, and
You're not competing for a gold medal. That Grim was like, that didn't hurt that bad.
hey, watch it. Excuse me, if you attack.
I love how sassy Ruby is in these early episodes. Listen. These early Grim. They're barely moving. Look at them.
We have to go.
Weiss is like, I don't want to get in trouble for setting the forest on fire. Only you can prevent forest fires. Smokey the Grim should show up.
That should have been easy. Well, perhaps if you had exercised.
That was kind of Ruby's fault in a way.
Yes, but also Weiss standing there trying to tell herself about combat.
Yeah, like she's still
So
in
it's
training.
both of them.
I love this early bickering.
I'm just fine on my own. Well, congratulations on being the strongest child to sneak your way into Beacon. Bravo.
Tree didn't do anything.
Okay, and then so there's this. Is this signifying the Nevermore, or can we see this as Crow is nearby? Which one is it? Is it the Nevermore or is it Crow? to me, it comes off a little bit more. This comes off more like it's a bad, like, you know.
I think it's more than Nevermore because the crow, like the bird that she hit on the way out, was Crow.
Yeah.
And he was going the other direction.
Yeah. So yeah.
So
well, it's hard to tell how big this feather is because it's right in the camera.
yeah, but I think it is the Nevermore just because of
what happens. Yeah, foreshadowing.
Because
yeah.
the thing is, Crow wouldn't be in the forest watching over her at this point because obviously he knows what's happening. Ozpin is watching them, so they'd be fine.
That's a good point.
I didn't think about that the first time I saw this. Yeah, that feather is giant.
Yeah.
Now that you see it lay against the tree, it's huge.
Did you hear that?
Gunfire. It seems some of our comrades have encountered the enemy.
Kind of stating the obvious there, Pyrrha. Cheap comedy.
Sorry.
It's okay. Just a scratch.
That would have hurt.
Why didn't you activate your aura?
Huh?
Your aura.
Gesundheit.
John,
That didn't even sound like a sneeze.
know what aura is?
Of course I do.
Of course I know that. But tell me what it is.
It bears our burdens and shields our hearts. Have you ever felt like you were being watched without knowing that someone was there?
Yeah.
Good old Ren. Like, I feel like this is like one of the only times we've really gotten to see Ren fully fight.
With practice, our aura can be our shield. Everyone has it.
The
even
exposition for what aura is.
now. No, the monsters we fight lack a soul. They are creatures of Grimm.
Hey, Grimm have feelings too. I always liked his weapons.
We are the light.
Right.
Though I just don't see them causing that much damage.
It's not about
Because, you know, small weapons like that are usually...
understanding both
Though they
dark
do their
and
job
light
here.
helps us manifest our aura. Everyone has some of both.
Yeah. Is it a snake Grimm because of... I just thought... No, that would have been for Nora because Thor died of a serpent's poison. I was going to say, is it Ren who was based off Mulan? Is there symbolism with the snakes? But I don't think there is.
It would have been a dragon.
Yeah, you're right. I do think it's wild that it's a black and white snake. It's kind of a yin-yang like thing going on.
Which could play out in a different way, yeah.
Yeah.
By bearing your soul outward as a force, you can deflect harm.
Yes.
All of our tools and equipment are conduits for aura.
Okay. She just stated all of our, tools and weapons are conduits. Because a lot of people had a problem in Volume 6 that Yang's prosthetic wasn't protected. I forgot exactly what the complaint was, but a lot of people have always asked, is Yang's prosthetic, since it's not part of, it's not her physical arm, can it be protected by aura? I think what Pyrrha says here is
It kind of points to that,
Yeah.
yes. Because, it's still a part of her now, but it's equipment that's a part of her.
Yeah.
So, yes, her equipment would still be a conduit to it, so...
You project yourself and your soul when fighting.
It's like a force field.
Yes, if you
Yeah.
want to look at it that way.
in one way. Now, I don't think we have ever seen aura been used like this again since this. Him, like that. I don't,
Channel it.
yeah, I don't think we've seen that used. When I first saw this, I expected its brain to come out, but its head just explodes. That's about the same thing.
Now, close your eyes and
We've never seen another character do this, I don't think. Was Pyrrha the only character in existence that could unlock aura at will? I don't think we've ever seen this happen again since.
immortality.
No, we haven't, but I don't think she's the only one that
I
can.
know, well, it was a joke,
Rise
but...
above all, infinite in distance and unbound by death. I release your soul, and by my shoulder protect the
And how did she even know to do that?
Pyrrha?
Maybe her mom taught her.
It's all right.
Maybe.
I used my aura to unlock yours, but the energy that protects you now is your own. You have a lot of it.
Oh, she's already smitten.
think she was in the locker room.
I still don't think that's what a sloth sounds like.
The first Boop. Boop has kind of come full circle as of Volume 8.
Yes.
So there we have it. All partners are partnered up. We just got to get the full teams together. So, interesting dynamics. You know, you've got Ren and Nora, the childhood friends, you know, and Nora achieved exactly what she wanted to, and that's being Ren's partner. It's like, was she up there just watching him like, Ren's got this. He doesn't need my help.
She probably was, knowing her.
We've got, you know, Jean and Pyrrha, Arcos. Out of all the partners so far, even though Ren and Nora and Blake and Yang will eventually evolve into more romantic relationships, their relationship is already pretty personal and, you know, because her unlocking his aura, you know, touching him like she did and all that. They went pretty hardcore in going ahead and having them be not romantically intimate, but doing something kind of intimate like that. So we've already got very clear signs that Jean and Pyrrha were more than likely going to be a romantic pairing.
Which stems back to the fact that what she tells him, you know, is that she, like, later on, he didn't look at her because of what she was.
Yeah.
Which Weiss did.
Yeah. Then, of course, you got Blake and Yang pairing up. Very simple, you know. But we talked more than enough about that. And then you have Ruby and Weiss, who just argue like no other. And they continue to argue in the next episode.
Which they do, like, down the road. They obviously, we know they do evolve to actually working together really well. The thing is at this point in time, Weiss, being who she is, stuck in her ways, but also there's Ruby that really needs to think and understand things a little bit better, which after the turning point in this, when Weiss realizes, okay, well, maybe I wasn't right for the team leader. Like, that's where she starts to make her turn, but right now she's still stuck in her, well, I'm a Schnee. Yeah.
So let's get to Chapter 7. All right. Chapter 7, a very short episode, 4 minutes and 47 seconds. Man, do you remember the days? We get upset when we have to wait a week for the next episode when they're almost 20 to 30 minutes long sometimes. Back then, whew. All right, well, let's get through this. The ever watchful Ozpin.
Our last pair has been formed, sir. Nora Valkyrie and Lai Ren. Poor boy. I can't possibly imagine those two getting along.
If only she knew.
Yeah.
Still, he's probably better off than Miss Miko's.
If only she knew.
I don't care what his transcripts say. That Jean fellow is not ready for this level of combat.
So they're already planting what's going to be revealed later. You know, because that's put there to make you wonder, did this guy really make it through, like, you know, was good enough to go into this kind of profession? So
I guess we'll find out soon enough. At their current pace, they should reach the temple within just a few minutes. Speaking of which, what did you use as relics this year? Professor Ozpin?
he is completely engrossed. So it makes you wonder, is he just like, there's something special about this group of students, or is he mostly focusing on Weiss and Ruby? Because Ruby, you know, is the main protagonist, so maybe it's, you know, he's interested to see what Ruby's going to do.
I think it's a combination of her and their team itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, well, the team that they could be, so.
Yeah. Who knows what's going on through that head. Now, this reminds me of me and you when we're at a convention or something and you're talking to our friends, we're just trying to figure out what to do. And me, I am not very patient. I sit down and just start playing with everything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll sit there and play with the leaves while she's trying to make the decision for us where to go or what we're going to do next.
Well, it doesn't help when I ask you. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you tell me, so you fine, be bored.
Yeah, that's definitely me. I'm definitely Ruby in this situation.
We passed it. Why can't you just admit that you have no idea where we're going? Because I know exactly where we're going.
No, you don't.
To...
You just contradicted yourself, Weiss. You've been walking back and forth going, maybe it's this way. Oh, it's official. We passed it. I know exactly where I'm going. No, you don't. You need a road atlas, big time.
Forest Temple. Ugh. Oh, stop it. You don't know where we are either. Well, at least I'm not pretending like I know everything.
I love this size. Watch.
It means you're a big, stupid jerk, and I hate you.
This is. Do I not do this sometimes? Like if not argue, but like if we're bickering about something and I have nothing and you've proven me wrong, I'll just go, I hate you. Like that's typical. Like I have nothing else. There's nothing else I can think of to say, so I hate you.
Yeah, but that's just a couple.
And I love how exasperated Weiss is. Weiss has been long suffering ever since Volume 1.
Just keep moving. Oh, just keep moving. Hurry up. Wow, watch where you're going. Why are you so bossy? I'm not bossy. Don't say things.
Ruby's never acted like this again in the series.
Acting like a kid. Well, stop acting like you're perfect. I'm not perfect. Not yet.
God,
But I'm still leagues better.
what an ego.
You don't even know me.
Ruby, you haven't made a really good first impression, technically. Look how easy they found
I
it.
think this is it.
What I love about the... What?
Her face, I think this is it. Just the first initial look. Just like...
What I love, this scene reminds me of, there's another YouTuber named Rarity Dash. I think I've told you about him. And I remember when he first started reacting to RWBY, he started at Volume 1. When, I don't think he's reacted to Volume 8 yet. But he eventually became a huge Bumblebee shipper. But when he watched this episode and saw this, he was like, not much of a connection here. And he said, yeah. And I'm like, boy, how times have changed. But yeah, I do like the fact that Yang just keeps on staring at her. And if you watch her eyes, she continuously watches Blake.
Chess pieces? Some of them are missing. Looks like we weren't the first ones here.
Why does it almost seem like she's kind of bummed that like she wanted to be the first one there?
Well,
Because I could see Yang being that competitive.
Think this is it?
That there are Why didn't Pyrrha pick up on that? There is freaking hieroglyphics right there telling you. And I love in before the after the fall, during the flashback to when Team Coffee formed, I think it was Coco who found this, and she saw the hieroglyphics, and she was like, "What idiot would go in there?" Yeah, poor John. And I think Pyrrha just humors him and goes, yeah,
I don't think she really paid attention to that either.
Pyrrha, I made the torch. Could you at least humor me for maybe 5 more feet?
So if you make the torch, it is up to you to get people to the right destination out in the middle of the woods. And he lost it first thing.
Not even 5 minutes. Or 5 feet, as he said.
Feel that soul-crushing regret?
That will become very regular with John. I love John. I'm just picking on him.
How about a cute little pony?
Sure.
And already Yang's got her smiling.
That wasn't too hard.
Well, it's not like this place is very difficult to find.
So they're already pushing that these two are going to be a very good team together.
That's the relic!
No, it's not.
I love that he actually talks to the relic like it's a...
Hey, that relic.
Who would talk to the relic?
John?
Some girl's in trouble.
And Pyrrha just books it.
Well, it's all she can do at this point.
Why? Man.
John, whatever you do, don't let
Goodbye.
go.
And as good as Pyrrha is, she's like, nope. Yep.
Blake, did you hear that? What should we do?
One of the most random endings of any RWBY chapter ever. Like, it's one moment you see Ruby and Weiss just bickering, and the next thing you know, Ruby's
She's falling out of the sky.
Yeah, it's like, what the heck happened?
Sean's launched into who knows where. Pyrrha takes off.
I love that Jean, from the very beginning, was one of those characters when stuff badly happened to him. He's one of the ones that just cries out, why? It's like, why me? You know? But, yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. Like, I remember when I first saw this one, like, you know, they kind of built Pyrrha up to be, like, this really strong character, and she books it.
But to take on something like that solo?
Yeah, it's not going to go very
when she's
well,
got
probably.
no other metal around to really help her?
Yeah. Well, that was Chapter 7. Let's move on to Chapter 8. All right, time for Chapter 8. This is one of the more longer episodes of Volume 1. It's 13:45. This is pretty much the conclusion of the whole Emerald Forest arc, pretty much. That, you know, we get to see Team Juniper and Team RWBY in action as teams, and that's before
they know their teams.
Yeah, before they know their teams. At the very end, we see the christening of the teams. But this episode features one of my favorite fights, and it is Team RWBY versus the Nevermore. No offense to Team Juniper and their fight in this, but to me, the fight in this episode was like, you know, before storytelling really became a thing and ships and all that, I was like, yeah, I'm hooked to this show. All right, so let's get into it. Chapter 8.
Ruby! I told you this was a terrible idea! We're fine! Stop worrying!
This is like, oh, so this is why she was falling from the sky.
In a good way? In a bad way! In a very bad way! Well, why don't we just jump? What are you, insane? Oh, you insufferable little red!
Blake, did you hear that? What should we do?
Everyone already suspected Blake was a faunus because you see her. Yeah. Very cartoony, very Looney Tunes.
What was that?
Hey, Ruby.
Did your sister just fall from the sky?
Yeah. The collection of errors.
Aw, it's broken.
Nora? Please. Don't ever do that again.
Queen of the castle.
I'm queen of the castle. I'm queen of the castle.
Nora!
Coming, Ren.
Did that girl just ride in on an Ursa?
They can't even finish their sentences without something crazy happening.
Pyrrha!
Whoa.
Ruby!
Favorite Nora moment coming up.
Yang. No.
That is my all-time favorite Nora
Did
moment.
she just run all the way here with a Deathstalker on her tail?
I can't take it anymore. Could everyone just chill out for 2 seconds before something crazy happens again?
Of all people to say chill out, Yang says it.
Yang?
She's like, of course not.
How could you leave me?
She sounds so...
Let's jump.
She's gonna fall.
She'll be fine.
She's falling.
I love how they say that so nonchalant. Oh, she's falling.
And then his bright idea.
Yeah.
Just dropping in.
And Weiss looks at him like, are you serious? Oh.
My hero.
And Pyrrha just running off in the...
Great, the gang's all here.
And that's one of my favorite moments. Great, the gang's all here.
Now we can all die together.
Don't worry. Totally fine.
I am not fine. It's like, that tickled. Come here, let me tickle you. Man, these early running animations. It just keeps getting better. This is why I hate birds. They're nothing but trouble.
Ruby, get out of there. I'm trying.
I don't want to rip my cape.
Ruby.
You are so childish.
Weiss kind of channeled Ruby there for a sec.
Wise and dim-witted and hyperactive, and don't even get me started on your fighting.
Man,
And I suppose
Kara sounds... Is it Kara or Kara? I've heard it pronounced two different ways. I'm going to say Kara. She sounds so young here.
do this together. So if you quit trying to show off, I'll be nicer.
That doesn't last.
Show off.
She lied.
No, I can do this. You're fine.
But I wonder if it's because part of the back of Weiss's head, she's like, I'm going to become leader, so I can take care of this later.
So happy you're okay.
What happened to the running joke that Yang gives these really strong hugs that suffocate people?
What are we gonna do?
Look, there's no sense in
Look at Nora in the background. What is she?
right in front of us. She's right.
She,
Our mission is
she looks like she's on something.
there's no point in fighting these things.
Run and live. That is an idea I can get behind.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That thing's probably pissed.
Right. Let's go.
The proud big sister.
What is it?
Nothing.
Here we go. Like I said, one of my favorite fights is coming up. Like, I've always loved this fight. If you would have asked me what is Volume 1's golden moment, it's this whole section right here.
Well, that's great.
Well, just everything about it, like the fight,
Oh man, run!
them working as a team before they know they're a team, and the connection they have as two teams that work together. Though.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because at this time, I mean, it's kind of obvious that, yeah, this is going to be the two major teams the show focuses on, but
it shows how well they all work together as two separate teams, though. Like,
Yeah.
naturally.
yeah. I also love the setting. These ruins that it's foggy and it's all that. I just love this little setting. It's pure final boss environment. And Blake gets bodied.
Get over there. They need help.
Let's do this.
Right here, we keep on learning in this episode how random Nora is. I'd have been like, Could you imagine going to an amusement park with Nora? And Blake just almost falls to her death, you know? I'm still to this day fascinated that her sheath is also a weapon.
Then let's hit it with everything we got.
And Yep, the teams are together now. So. Let's hit it with a barrage. And that happens. This right here is very Final Fantasy. Very Advent Children-like. Which Monty was a fan of Final Fantasy, so... And like you said, a lot of stuff in RWBY, as far as outfits go, is very Final Fantasy-like.
Yeah.
See? Yep. Plus, in this section, you kind of see, even though before it's announced, Ruby and Jean being like the leaders. Ow. Instant death. And I love Red. He's just like, well, I'll die. It's that classic Ric Flair fall down. You know, you would think Yang's weapons, as far as the gun part, would be very... It would have a disadvantage because of... It's kind of like a shotgun in a way, and shotguns usually don't have a long range, but that showed that it does have a long range. First time Yang uses Gamble. This is such a... I love the confidence here that Weiss has.
Think you can make the shot? Can I?
And Ruby ruins it. She couldn't let Weiss have her moment. This was always so cool. She literally drags the thing until she decapitates it. Well, we're having fried chicken for dinner. Kaplump.
Wow.
And I always love that shot right there. And I love what Yang says here.
Well, that was a thing.
It's like if something big happens. Well, that happened. So right here, they're already showing that these guys are going to be at least something if we're seeing their team getting formed.
Yeah.
But it's funny. They literally serve just the purpose of Jean's little story that happens in Volume 1.
From this day forward, you will work together as Team Juniper. Led by Sean Ark.
He's like, what?
Led by
He's shocked.
What?
Kira's just proud and happy.
And she knocks him on his ass.
And finally, Blake Belladonna, Ruby Rose, Weiss Schnee, and Yang Xiaolong. The four of you
Always
will
bugged me
reunite
that he didn't.
Out of order.
Yeah, it's always bugged me.
together as Team Ruby. Led by Ruby Rose.
Could you imagine it being called Team Ruby and her not be the leader?
It looks like things are shaping up to be an interesting year.
Oh, you got that right. God, look, the moon literally looks like it's made out of paper. Yeah, like compared to what it looks like now. This is when danger approaches. Things aren't going too well, you guessing, huh? the money in RWBY just looks like cards to
Yeah, it
me.
looks like credit cards.
You can collect them all. I love how... Yeah, I love cops. Dumb cops. You know, it's just got all this... Okay, well, that is Chapter 8. So we get to see Team RWBY and Team Juniper form. We got some fights in, you know, kind
I
of...
saw the natural connection between each separate team and the teams together.
Yep. And so
which is a good thing, because you want teams that naturally work together. And that's another thing, because we know obviously Ozpin was watching the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
When he was watching them pair off into twos, he was watching for the natural connections between the other teams as they were forming. So
and they just so happened to all group up together, and how they did at the end. So yeah, next few episodes, like the next one I know for sure is, you know, kind of a slice of life like episode, like showing them at school and all that. But of course you get the whole Weiss having a problem that she wasn't made the leader and all that, which really only lasted that one episode.
no, because pretty much she was kind of put in her place a bit.
Yeah.
Which made her really realize, because she wants to stand out from just her family name,
But-
it kind of started clicking.
But
a
it
little
makes you
faster.
wonder how things would have went if they had maybe continued that story just a little bit longer. And then after that, I think it's mostly the Jean episodes, because we focus on Jean for a couple of episodes. You know, and then things kind of pick up toward the end. But yeah, that's the one thing about Volume 1. Compared to even Volume 2, it's really simple.
Yeah, one of my favorite episodes is it too.
Yeah. That's like the first episode of 2.
Yeah.
She's talking about the food fight episode.
That was the first clip I ever saw before I knew what RWBY even was. And I absolutely loved that clip that I kept seeing, and I wasn't sure what it was back then, and I was just thinking, well...
But, you know, going back to what I was saying about Volume 1 being simple, I've made it no secret on Twitter that Volume 1 is probably one of my least favorite volumes, but it's because not much really happens in Volume 1. But Volume 1, I think, for the most part, is mostly a volume of setting a lot of very simple things up, like the characters, introducing the characters, having them meet each other, getting the team set up, and then by the end of Volume 1, the little story that would progress through the Beacon arc starts up. But yeah, I think one of the biggest things about the Beacon arc is it's really all just a prologue, really, to the series picking up in Volume 4. Even though Volume 3 is kind of where things really started toward the more darker end of it. But, so yeah, I think we're at least halfway, maybe a little over halfway of Volume 1. Hopefully we will get these out way faster than we have. But Volume 9's been pushed to 2022. We should get a lot covered before Volume 9 comes out. I won't say we'll get it all done by then, but
Hey, if we move sooner than we think, we could get it done faster.
yeah. So
It's the internet loading stuff is another huge
yeah, the internet is what kept us from getting this out faster, because we wanted this to be one a week, but
we're having a lot of issues lately.
yeah.
And being hurricane season, we're also facing a lot of flooding issues, which actually interferes with our internet.
Well, when the hurricanes last long enough to reach here.
Well, I meant the rains, because we've been having a lot of power issues, and that adds to the internet issues.
Yep.
So
yeah, we'll get them out. We'll get these out as fast as we can. So hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, click that like button. Like I said, this series is going to go all the way to RWBY Volume 7, Chapter 1, because Chapter 1 of Volume 7 is the only one of Volume 7 that we
didn't get to record.
Yeah, so that's what it'll go to. And yeah, hope you guys continue to join us for this little journey. As always, guys, this is Kanan.
This is Jessie.
We love you all very, very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.